Welcome, everybody. This is our very first Meet Our Board Members, our new board members. And I'm Bill Russell, president of the Lake Norman Chamber of Commerce. And it is my big honor to recognize our chairman, our board chair for 2021, Erika Erlenbach. And she's going to introduce our new board members. So Erika, it's your show.
Thanks, Bill. I appreciate that. And welcome everyone. Thank you for tuning in and checking this out. I'm really excited because this year being able to serve as the chair is great in what I consider building year. We've had certainly challenges, as all of our local businesses have, but this year, we're going to change that. We're going to see growth. We're going to see things reimagined, reignited. So with that being said, that meant getting some new board members on board. So to start, I'd like to introduce Dr. Brian Cain. Brian, can you tell us a little bit about you?
Sure. Thank you, Erika. I appreciate it. I appreciate the opportunity to serve on the board. So I am a primary care doctor. My practice is in actually the Concord area, but live in the Davidson area. My background is in internal medicine and pediatrics. I'm a physician and I work with NOVANT Health. In addition to providing primary care, I serve as the North Charlotte submarket lead physician, and so have an administrative role with them as well, and intimately involved in healthcare and can serve in the community. So.
That's fantastic, Brian. Thanks so much for stepping out and serving this year. Steve Melton, can you introduce yourself for us?
Steve, you're muted.
Okay, yeah. Steve Melton, been involved in commercial insurance sphere for about 20 years. I protect business assets, and I'm gravitated from a direct writing organizations as a market specialist to an independent type role where I, gather the right solutions for my customers. And, insurance is a commodity. We all know that. So I've gravitated more into more of a consultative approach. I have a trusted risk advisor certification, which I just achieved recently. I have a certified insurance counselor designation, 10-year anniversary. I have a charter life underwriter designation. I achieved a certified employee benefit specialist designation back in 1990 or so. I don't really utilize it much. I'm highly educated, but you got to get out there and meet the people. And I'm right now working with more captive type solutions for businesses. And I'm excited to be on the chamber. I've been attending a lot of chamber functions for many years now and gotten to know a lot of the board members. And I just really think it's a great place to be. I appreciate you letting me be on it, Erika.
Thank you, Steve. We appreciate you serving. And Christine, I just realized I was supposed to go to you first. So Christine, can you tell us a little bit about you?
No problem. And I apologize for any background noise that you guys may hear. Unfortunately, my flight was delayed or actually canceled. So I'm on another flight right now. So headed to my flight. But I'm Christine Pulley. I work for Duke Energy. I am the spokesperson for McGuire Nuclear Station. And I'm really looking forward just to learning more about the chamber and what the board does and its role. And I have some experience, of course, with the chamber, working with Duke Energy for the past 10 years. I've been on their diversity council. I've also been on the Lake Norman Leadership Lake Norman as well, class 2 years ago. So you definitely have some experience, but always looking to grow and learn more.
That's great. Thanks so much, Christine. And Steve.
Hi, thank you, Erika. I too am grateful to be joining the board. I represent MSC Industrial Supply. We're one of the leading metalworking and MRO distributors in the country. We have a motto. Our purpose is to help our customers become better, built to make you better. But it's more than just customers. We think that way about our associates and our customers and our shareholders and our communities. And so in this aspect, we want to be an active participant in the Lake Norman community. We moved our headquarters here about 7 years ago, and we're excited to be involved with Lake Norman Chamber. I've been a Lake Norman resident for, I don't know, 17 or 18 years. I'm also very excited to be part of this. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. And Steve, that's actually a great segue to my first question, because you mentioned being a partner and wanting to partner, being a partner within the community. So to everyone or anyone who wants to share on this, how do you see partnership in the Lake Norman region? What can we be doing to help our member partners really from any aspect?
That's great. Who wants to go first?
We have two Steves, so
Steve
that's
goes first.
I think, we need to think of, this is the Lake Norman Chamber of Commerce, but this is really about neighbors and community. And the more that we work together to make this a good place to do business and to have a business, the more people we can serve and the better that we can make this as a place to live. This is about serving each other. And there's just no better place to start, I think, and helping create a healthy place for people to support and raise their families. How was that, Christina? I'm not a public relations exec, but how did that do? Was that okay?
That was good.
That was pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah, we'll
Dr.
work
Cain,
on polish later.
Dr. Cain, I have a question, really. I've told people that probably one of the things that's most important to any family moving to an area outside of education and real estate is healthcare. And we are so blessed in Lake Norman to have such outstanding healthcare providers. You're with NOVANT. We have NOVANT, we have Atrium, we have Lake Norman Regional Medical Center. We have a plethora, whether it's chiropractors, dentists, other healthcare. But if healthcare is important to your family, which it is to every family, this is a great area because we have so much choice. There are so many areas that are kind of captured areas that you only have a healthcare provider. And if you don't really like that healthcare provider, well, tough. We don't really have that here. We have a lot of choice. Do you want to speak a little bit about NOVANT and what attracted you to NOVANT Health?
I thought you were going to ask me about healthcare in general, and I was going to say I really prefer NOVANT. But I do. I think healthcare is so important, and thinking where our community goes, and just thinking about the impact that COVID has had on our community over this past year, and how we move forward. It really does take everybody working together and businesses working together to see things recover and flourish. And NOVANT, I'm really proud of a lot of the work that they've done in the community to stand up when COVID first hit, stand up testing centers and being a place where people could find care, especially when it was really scary and new, and the intentional effort to be there, and then also to partner with not just with physicians and nurses and staff within NOVANT, but also partner with the other big healthcare agencies, with Atrium and with Lake Norman, to make sure people could find places to get care. I think NOVANT really, the tagline that we have is to make healthcare remarkable, but it really comes from having a remarkable team. And that's something that I really appreciate about NOVANT, is you find a lot of genuine, caring people, and they really care about their community too, and go a long way to serving it. So.
Thank you.
You want me to follow up on your question to Steve, Erika?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I've been attending a lot of events for years, and of course I got involved in the Rotary a little after you, I believe, and really kind of opened the door over in this part of the world, because I don't live right here in Mecklenburg County. I live in adjoining county. And the thing about the Lake Norman Chamber is such a dynamic organization as far as chambers go. Bill sets the tone, but looking at what we could do as far as for the members is you've always and want to continue with all the diverse events. And I don't know whose idea it was to set up the diversity council and some of these other things, but in all the political Jeff Tart stuff that Jeff Tart said, but it's like, it's mind boggling how many great programs that you offer that people maybe don't understand or can really appreciate. And I think going forward with this renewal effort that you've initiated, Erika, that's really what I think our role is to try to increase the awareness of all the things that we're doing and to get more people involved. And that's going to increase membership, because right now I know we're down a little bit. So I think that's our role, is to really step it up.
Right. Thanks, Steve. That's great, and a great point. Christine, if you're available, I would love to get your impression. You actually are a graduate of the Leadership Lake Norman program. And as part of that, I mean, Duke's been a great partner with the chamber and with a lot of our chamber members. I would love to hear sort of your impression of sort of participating in that program. What surprised you? What did you learn about the chamber that you didn't know?
Well, I'm not to scare you guys, but I am walking around with my mask, so I don't know how good I look walking with this mask on, because I feel like if I take it off in the airport, someone's going to say something to me.
You look fine to us.
Christine, while we have you, I have to, again, we started this before we started recording. I was sharing how Duke is a great partner. Yesterday, in anticipation of bad weather, I got a notice that we could send out to our chamber members about what to expect. And again, that didn't really materialize here in the Cornelius, Davis, and Huntersville. As you move further north, Morrisville, Troutman, they got a little bit worse weather. But Duke is a great partner, and I can't thank them enough.
I'm sorry, I'm here. I was just talking away and had no idea that you guys could not hear me.
We'd love to hear what you were saying.
Okay, lost her again. Erika, another question maybe for Steve.
Sure. So what about our chamber do you feel is unique or a real opportunity that you would say most people or businesses don't know about?
Well, I'm excited to learn more about what makes us unique, but I can tell you that what's really interested me off the bat was the connection between the different communities of Lake Norman. Mm-hmm. It wasn't just one town. It wasn't just one group of people. It was a very diverse and wide spanning and really linking different communities together, which I think of this as one big community, not just one, Cornelius and Davidson and Huntersville and more. I think of it as one big community. So this approach, I think, is kind of unique and special.
Steve Melton, you have a sort of an insight that the others may not have. We have a quarterly nonprofit roundtable where we get our nonprofits together. Before COVID, we were getting them together in person, and they were being able to share what they were doing, who they were, what events they had coming up. Then once COVID hit, we went to a virtual program. But Steve was one of the early participants in there, representing our Rotary organization, but also an insurance company that works with nonprofits. Do you want to speak about the importance, not just of the chamber, but the importance of nonprofits in general to Lake Norman?
Yeah, Bill, it's really, that's a unique program. I mean, what I was talking about earlier that other chambers really don't offer, and you did a fantastic job setting it up, and I think it just grew and grew and grew. And really what opened my eyes was how many different and diverse members were, and what there's a lot of pain out there. And the Zoom calls are great, but they just don't translate the pain and the needs that these folks exhibit and at the regular meetings. And what I've learned is that we need to exhibit their needs, continue to push for participation in that, and get folks involved in learning as much as they can about them. I mean, we've got what is it, like the Lotta Foundation? They do things. You got the Ada Jenkins. You got a lot, but then you have a lot of these other ones that are just kind of, hey, we don't know much about you, but when you hear their what they serve and what they do, are like, oh my God, you know, that's a small sliver, but it's really a great need in our community that wouldn't even think about. So I just would like to continue to accentuate it, and hopefully, you know, once we get back to some normalcy, get more people involved in attending those.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Brian, if we say reignite, since that's part of our theme for this year, what do you feel what does that mean to you as far as our chamber and our community?
That's a good question. I think when I think of that word and it's sort of the idea that it portrays is that there was sort of a hub of activity. There was a lot to offer in the community that may have dampened a little bit. And I think of the pandemic doing that to some extent, and that there's a lot of opportunity as we're getting a glimmer of hope of being on the other side of that as COVID cases seem to come down and more vaccinations underway, that we may return to a little bit more normalcy and get to experience a little bit of what the community has to offer in a more tangible way than just these Zoom meetings that we have become so accustomed to.
That's great. That's great. And Bill, I think we have time for one more question. Is that right? So with that, I'd like to ask all of you, if there's one thing that you hope that our board can accomplish this year in the community, what is that? What is that one thing to each of you?
I think I'd like to sit down and eat with them.
That's great, Steve. I think it is about that theme of reigniting. And I don't know that anything will ever return to normal or what a new normal will be. But there's going to be a change this coming year, and we're going to be getting back to something different, and we need to take the opportunity to really engage with each other and have a meal, Steve.
That's great.
Yeah, I am all for in-person events as it gets safer and safer. But that's something I think for me is a little bit on that theme of reignite, is really seeing the opportunity to engage with people in a way and engage with businesses and our community in a way that we haven't really been able to over this past, what seems like 15, 18 months, which has just been 11 months, I think. So.
That's great. That's great. Thank you all.
Erika was talking to David Keith yesterday, and he said that he wanted me to maybe interact more with the chamber ambassadors. I mean, that's an area that, they haven't had the exposure and the access like they've in the past. And apparently there's some real dynamos in that group. So that's something I think the board can really get involved with.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Christine, are you still on?
I am, and I'm going to show you. Here I am. Okay. I would say, I mean, I echo what everyone else was saying about just kind of, trying to get back to what the new normal looks like and just being able to engage in a different way. But at the same time, I would also say that I think it's important that we don't lose sight of I'll say that the chamber doesn't lose sight of the innovation piece. Because I think, despite the fact that we may all have Zoom fatigue, and I'm sitting here talking to you in a mask, I think it's important, like I said, that we just don't lose sight of that, because it is helpful and does allow us to reach people that we may not be able to reach, easily sometimes. So I would definitely say, yeah, I'm definitely all for in person, but we just shouldn't lose sight and maybe even sort of maximize what innovation looks like. And it doesn't necessarily need to be a Zoom call, but what does innovation look like and how can we be at the forefront of that?
That's fantastic. Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Bill, did you have anything else?
No, final thoughts for you, young lady. What would you like to share with our membership?
I mean, thank you for the opportunity. Be on the lookout because these amazing people that you've heard from this morning, along with the rest of our board, we're going to do some really terrific things this year. I feel very strongly that, we have opportunity. I won't look at it as negative, what we've been through. I look at it as an opportunity, what we can do going forward. So thank you for the opportunity to serve in this role. And thank you to all of our new board members for being on today.
And I want to thank all of you for your leadership and thank you, Erika, for what you're doing, taking the time out. And we're going to continue to spotlight our chamber board members. And I hope everybody has a really, really great weekend.
I have one question for Steve. How do you say your last name?
With great difficulty.
Szilagyi? Is that it?
That's it. That's it. You got it perfect.
Is that a Russian?
It's Hungarian.
Hungarian. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can say it any way you want to say it, Steve. I'll answer.
No, I got you. I met another guy with his he has a Russian name, but it's spelled similar to yours. Yeah, and he told me when they came over to America from Russia that they took the Z's and put S's in front of them at when they came through Ellis Island.
Yeah.
So that's why I thought you were Russian. I sent you a LinkedIn invite, so I appreciate the time.
Thank you.
All right.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
You too.
Great weekend, everybody. Peace.